Greetings to all. My name is Mansi Deshmukh and my topic is Western blotting. So, Western blotting is an analytical technique. It is an important technique which is used in cellular and molecular biology. Western blotting is also known as immunoblotting because it uses antibodies for detection. This is a technique which was originated in 1979 by Harry Tobin and was named in 1981 by W. Neil Burritt. This technique allows us to detect the presence of particular antigens or proteins in a given sample using its corresponding antibodies. The proteins in this method are segregated using SDS phage, which is sodium rhodycyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. And this method also can be used to determine the relative amount of protein which is present in the sample. The principle of this uh, procedure is that it is used for identification of the particular protein from the mixture of the sample. In this method, labeled specific primary antibodies are used against particular desired proteins. It is a specific test. The reagents required for this procedure include transfer buffer. So the transfer buffer consists of tris HCl, glycine, and 10% methanol. Transfer buffer is used for the transfer of proteins to the membrane. In this, the 10% methanol used is a fixative. Number two is blocking buffer. Blocking buffer consists of 2% bovine serum albumin in phosphate buffer saline. This blocks the open spaces on the membrane to which the proteins are not bound. Number three is the rinse buffer. Rinse buffer consists of TBS 220. After the treatment of membrane with secondary antibodies, this is used to get rid of the unbound antibodies. And lastly, we have the lysis buffer, which is used for the preparation of the extract. Next, we have the procedure. So, the first step is extraction of the protein. Protein is extracted from the cell by mechanical or chemical lysis of the cell. This step is known as tissue preparation. To prevent denaturing of protein, protease inhibitor is used. As soon as lysis occurs, proteolysis, dephosphorylation, and denaturation begins. These events can be slowed down if the samples are like kept on ice or are placed in 4 degrees Celsius room, I mean 4 degrees Celsius temperature. A tracking dye, generally bromophenol blue, is also added in the sample to monitor the movement of the proteins. The second step is gel electrophoresis. So the sample is loaded in the wells of SDS phage. The proteins are separated on the basis of electric charge, isoelectric points, molecular weight, or like a combination of all of these. Small sized protein move faster than the large sized proteins. Proteins are negatively charged, so they move towards the positive pole, which is the anode, as electric current is applied. Step three is blotting. In this step, the nitrocellulose membrane is placed on the gel. The separated protein from the gel gets transferred to this nitrocellulose paper by capillary action. This type of blotting is time consuming and it may take about 1 to 2 days. So, for fast and more effective transfer of the desired proteins from the gel to this nitrocellulose paper, we make use of electroblotting. In electroblotting, the nitrocellulose membrane is basically sandwiched between the gel and casket of the filter paper, and then electric current is passed through the gel, which causes the protein to get transferred to the membrane. In the fourth step, which is blocking, so this is like a very important step in the Western blotting procedure. In this, the membrane is incubated in the blocking buffer for 1 hour at room temperature. Antibodies are also proteins, so they are likely to bound to this nitrocellulose paper. So before adding the primary antibody, the membrane is non-specifically saturated, or like it is masked using the BSA, which is the bovine serum albumin. In the next step, we treat the treatment with primary antibodies is done. We use the primary antibodies which is specific to the desired proteins so that it forms antigen antibody complexes. The antibodies can be labeled with radioisotopes or with enzymes that react with the substrate, which will give us colored products. The membrane is washed thrice with primary antibody solution. The next step is treatment with the secondary antibodies. The secondary antibody is enzyme labeled, or it is substrate, or it is like radioisotope, or it is labeled with radioisotope, as mentioned earlier. The secondary antibody is antibody against the primary antibody, so it can bind with the antigen antibody complex as well. So the last step is treatment with suitable substrate. Basically, this is like the visualization step. To visualize the enzyme action, the reaction mixture is incubated with a specific substrate. The enzyme converts the substrate to give us a visible colored product. So the band of color can be visualized in the membrane. So there are several methods which can be used for visualization. It includes colorimetric method, fluorescent methods, chemiluminescence methods, out of which the fluorescent and the chemiluminescence methods are the most sensitive ones. Western blot is also a quantitative test to determine the amount of proteins present in a sample. So this is basically the diagrammatic representation which helps us to see the entire procedure of Western blotting. As you can see in the first picture, we are loading the sample in the wells. In the second picture, the electrophoresis SDS page is carried out. In the third picture, we make use of the nitrocellulose membrane and get transfer the proteins from the gel to the paper. And in the fourth step, we use the antibodies, the primary and the secondary antibodies, for the detection of the proteins on the membrane. Now let's talk about some advantages of the procedure, Western blotting. So the first one is sensitivity. So because of its ability to detect as little as zero point 0.1 nanogram of protein in the sample, the technique can theoretically serve as an effective diagnostic tool, as it can sense even the slightest immunogenic response from a virus or a bacteria in the patient sample. So basically, it's like greater the sensitivity means fewer antibodies are needed for testing, which cuts down a lot of the laboratory costs. The second advantage is specificity. So the specificity of the Western blot technique is due to two major reasons. Number one is gel electrophoresis, as it sorts the sample based on various different criteria such as size, charge, and conformation. And number two is the specificity of the antigen antibody interactions. Uh, yeah. And lastly, we have the disadvantages of the technique. Number one, it is prone to false or subjective results. So, in spite of its sensitivity and specificity, a Western blot can still produce false results. A false positive result is when the antibody reacts with a non-intended protein, and a false negative result is when it can like easily result. It can easy. This result can easily be seen if like larger proteins are not given sufficient time to transfer properly to the membrane, and like improper blotting and processing, this can like often produce faded or even multiple bands, making the test results like it can affect the test results drastically. The next disadvantage is the high cost and the technical demand. So the cost of a Western blot is composite of the large individual expenditures for the tagged antibodies, the skilled analysts, and the lab equipment. It is a delicate procedure, and it requires like precision in every step for proper identification of the proteins, and even a minor error in any of the steps can result in the entire procedure getting disturbed. And finally, the equipments which are required for the detection, like the fluorescence or the chemiluminescent equipment, they are very expensive for an average microbiology unit. So yeah, that's that. Thank you.